Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. We took a break off for a little bit. Jack had some time with the family and he had some exciting stuff to do in LA. Hopefully he will announce that to you guys. Some really big things coming. I got my good buddy Lucas Jabu, prior Marine, current RSO, one of our adjunct instructors with us. It's going to be fun. We're going to cover a lot of stuff. Stay with us. Some of our traumatic incidents that we both have experience with, TBIs, gun knowledge, right? Stay tuned. You're going to get some gun knowledge and some of the parts and some of the, misnomers in the industry. Maybe a little fitness. We don't know. We'll get into it. But man, have fun. Strap in. What's up, buddy? Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you got it. I didn't bring them, but I got your patches in. Some of the shorter ones, the smaller ones. So we got green ones and black ones for you. We'll give those to you after the show. But listen, man, I want to dive into a lot of stuff with you today. Take some time, probably spend a good hour. So stay with us, guys. It won't be our long 2.5 hour one, I promise. But first of all, what's your background like? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Illinois, just a small suburb just right outside of Chicago.
Cool. Play sports?
I did, yeah. I played soccer since like the 3rd grade all the way through high school.
Okay. And we're going to breeze over a little bit of this because there's so much I want to dive into, but I just kind of want to know where you come from. I know a little bit about it, and I saved a lot of things for this because I want to hear about it too. You're such an interesting, like, multi-leveled person, but you're into like years and years and years of several things, right? Music, deep into motorcycles. Used to build motorcycles for a living, right? The gun thing's a big deal for you.
It is,
a lot of military background we'll dive into. I really want to personally dive into, and maybe even a whole podcast on, I don't know, but I personally want to dive into your PTSD and trauma experiences and your treatments, especially your experiences with psilocybin. You have a lot of experience with it. I have limited the retreat I went into, the mushroom coffee that I switched to. So I like to talk about that, but just kind of a preview of what's to come, guys, because I want you to stay tuned. And again, this is communities for everybody. Chime in, ask us questions, let us know what topics you want to go over. And it's just guys like us have some experiences we want to share, and we want you to share some of yours and realize that guys that look like us are just like you. We suffer from the same problems. We have the same worries. We have the same stresses. We have same lack of money issues. So, right?
Yeah,
So,
ain't that the truth?
right? And we're getting older and in worse shape, et cetera. Anyway, so let's dive into a little bit. Just give me a little bit of dive into each of those backgrounds and like that diversity, man.
Okay, yeah. Just grew up, 90s were different, so obviously always outside, always been active. So sports, playing soccer, biking, skateboarding, rollerblading, all that fun jazz. Then went and joined the Marine Corps. Didn't know where I was going with life. Sleeping on mom's couch at 19 years old.
Got it.
No aspirations, had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
So
excuse me.
When we get into like the Marine Corps thing, the veteran thing, and then what you do now, that diversity though, like what does music play a part in your life, and at what extent do you do that? And I know nothing about it. I don't even know what instrument you play or what you.
With the childhood, what it wasn't the best. So music was an escape at the time.
Right.
Being a teenager, you have limited options of what you can do. So I found metal music. So I listened to metal. Had some friends that listened to metal, and I found that it wasn't just as the raw and just angry as everyone thinks it is. There's a lot of emotion involved in it. It's not all just anger. So I was able to dive in that and use that for some of the traumas from childhood and stuff like that. And then started playing guitar as a way to put forth some energy, being young and stuff like that. So play guitar on and off, pretty steadily up until before I joined the Marine Corps. We were talking to record labels. We were opening up for big metal bands, some like Norwegian black metal bands. That's huge. Opened up for Black Label Society way back in the day. It's like 2004, 2005 time frame. So we were just young kids having a good time and
fighting back against parents. So I had no idea. That's cool because I have twins, right? And one's I say uber tactical hunting. He's an outdoor kid. Constantly wants to fish in the lake in the backyard. And then I have the other one that, we asked if he wanted to do an instrument, and he said yes to piano.
Yep.
And he had uber talent. Yep. And then just bought a guitar one day, and actually took his sisters that she'd never played, and he started teaching himself, and then found Green Day as if it was a new band, right?
Right.
And can play all the Green Day songs within, I'd say, under 30 days, self-taught. he did all his piano recitals and like put the music stand down and did everything by heart. And yet I never saw him practice, which is weird. So you and him can chat a bit about that. Maybe jamming together would be cool. Secondly, I do know a little bit more about this. You explained a little bit when we met, but you have a massive background in like motorcycles.
Do, yeah.
Now, when we frame that out, right, I lost my career at LAPD to a motorcycle accident, right? So tib fib compound fracture. I was never supposed to walk again, all that stuff. But that was on a GSXR 750. It's on a Rice Rocket. Totally different thing. All my roommates and friends were pro stunt riders, and
Yep.
you did the other direction, right? So explain your motorcycle experience.
Yeah, so got into the motorcycles is finding that spot for the adrenaline rush.
Right.
I've always been a tinkerer ever since a kid, taking mom's VCR apart and TVs and radios and stuff like that. So
You said VCR. Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
VCRs for your young kids. Back in the day when you still had to, had a separate rewinder, for your
Yeah,
VCRs
yeah.
and stuff. So always been a tinkerer in the garage, playing with dad's tools and stuff like that, taking cars apart when I wasn't supposed to, And then got into riding motorcycles because I wanted that adrenaline fix, as we all had to find somewhere to
Right.
put that. And hand in hand was, I can go fast, I can ride, with the Harley side of things. That's what my first bike was a 650.
Okay.
So the Ninja, gutless little thing, but had that for a couple months, got rid of it because it was too slow. Decided to get a Harley, which was the opposite direction I should have went. But it led to where I went from there and started wrenching on it, obviously building cars and stuff like that. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier on the body because I learned that you can get a motorcycle lift and pick the bike up to you instead of having to lay on the ground and, necks hurting, backs hurting, all that stuff. And then got into more riding and started hanging out with the clubs and became a club member at one point, and then got real deep into the building side of things, and then started building like real nice performance Harleys, and then started racing them.
Wow.
So I raced for 6 years. So that was a fun thing, expensive.
Wow. So, I mean, when you say motorcycle clubs, like, we know that the outlaw side says we're just a motorcycle club. We're an organization. We're not outlaws. I get it. Was it a fun club, or was it more on towards the outlaw?
Oh, no.
kinda?
So I was in, it's like a single patch, family oriented club. Most of it was all guys who were still active duty or veterans. It was started by a couple Marines from our artillery unit, which is right down the road from where I was.
But then
And,
again, so was Hell's Angels, right?
I mean, all motorcycle clubs started out as a veteran.
Hey, no
group, so-
disrespect. I don't want any knocks on my door.
But yeah, it was family oriented. We had family days every Sunday. We brought all the kids out. We barbecued, played dodgeball, softball, and all that stuff. Obviously, we went and did the adult things and partied with all the big clubs and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
But we never played any sides.
Okay.
We didn't like that whole side of things, that
Yeah, I
gang mentality, I guess you can call
So
it.
speaking of that, and I don't try to get sidetracked, Austin, but we know we're going to pull things from each other. I got to tell you a quick 2-minute like Hell's Angels story. And again, don't kill me. This is a lot of years ago. This is way back when I was Los Angeles Police Department playing ice and roller hockey and competing. So we did the police and fire games, right? This one had been in like Oakland, Sacramento area. Up north, I can't remember where we actually competed. I think we competed in Oakland. At any rate, we won the gold medal. We did every single year. We were a dominant force. We had ex-pros on our team. Anyway, we went to celebrate. We heard there's like in Sacramento, there's a downtown area where you can park at like a shopping center and then go walk into all the bars. We've got SWAT dudes, we got detectives, we got narcotics guys, we got everybody. I think even a counter-terrorist dude. Like, we had a solid team of some
Very
pretty
diverse.
good dudes, yeah. And we were gonna pre-party, and we parked our rental van or whatever, and we went right across the street to this little bar, saloon-type bar. We go in, there's not a soul in there. Bartender looks at us. I'm wearing LAPD hockey number 27 in there, okay? It's pretty obvious who and what we are. You can see the look, like nobody's an idiot. Bartender looks at us very oddly. And we're like, this place is empty. Well, you know what? Hey, we'll order some shots. And the guy goes, hey, what are y'all celebrating? And one guy, I don't know who it was, and I'm not gonna lay him out anyway, but he says, well, we're here competing against other police officers from all over the state and some of the country, and we won in hockey. The guy's like, dude, we watch hockey. It's awesome. You know what? That round's on me. And I was like, that's odd, but cool. One of our guys, remember, if you watch, and I don't know where you're at, Johnny Knighton, one of our best players. The guy skated like Fedorov. He's beautiful. He goes to the bathroom. He goes to the wrong door. He opens up, and it's the meeting room with the logos for Hell's Angels everywhere in it, where they have their choir practice or whatever, which is funny because cops have the same term for something different, choir practice. Anyway, and he comes out, we got to go now. Hey, man, we're good, whatever. No, we got to go now. And the bartender just looked at us like, yeah.
It's time to go.
Y'all better go. We leave. We find out later it is on the list for no local law enforcement. It's blacklisted, is allowed in there. We go to the bars, enjoy ourselves. We come back to the cars. We look across the street. There is Hell's Angels bikes everywhere. Didn't mean to sidetrack, but pretty fucking funny. So anyway, so music, motorcycles, it gives us an insight into kind of what makes you tick. And it also tells you like how similar us veterans are. The adrenaline thing, I've been after adrenaline my entire life. I volunteered like an idiot for every deployment. I begged to go to Panama, and we talked about that story. Maybe we'll bring that up later. I don't know, but what else? What else were you into besides that, like leading up to the Marine Corps?
Leading up to Marine Corps was pretty much it. I mean, I worked, like I said, I didn't have like real good direction as far as like the parenting goes.
Yeah.
I guess you can say rough childhood and stuff like that, and you gotta get all into that craziness. But it was trying to find a niche. I knew I wanted to be a Marine. My grandfather was a Marine during Vietnam. I didn't even know what a Marine was at the time, and I thought every Marine was a door kicker. So I went and talked to a recruiter, and he goes, well, your ASVABs are pretty decent. What do you want to do in the Marine Corps? Obviously, I want to be a door kicker because that's what Marines do. He goes, well, here's a list of everything else that the Marine Corps has. I was like, I didn't know that this was even a garbage man, AC tech. Like,
Yeah, we only know what we know. Or we only know what the recruiter tells us to.
Yeah. Well, he was a grunt. He was a sniper, so he didn't try to sell me on the infantry. So that was cool. And when I told him, like, you want to go do hood rat stuff overseas.
Stuff.
Yeah. He was pretty excited about it and didn't argue with it. Didn't try to sell me anything else. So that's how I went into that.
Nice. Okay. So Marine Corps is different. I'm prior Air Force. Some people know, some people don't. Have your jokes now. It's funny. Great. It's funny because I was in a unit there were 6 of us and a sergeant, and I was the only non-Marine in the entire unit. So Marines are very thick in LAPD. In fact, our history is super cemented in Marine Corps. Like the way we wear our name tag, the way we wear the way we march was all Marine Corps. So I got teased to tell you, as you can imagine, but
I got a bunch of buddies that I served with that went LAPD or San Bernardino.
yeah.
I even had a leg in with CHP. We had one of the base general at the time knew my wife, or ex-wife, and was like, hey, if your husband wants to, when he gets out, here's my name.
You know what we call them, right? Can't handle police work. AAA with a gun.
AAA with a gun.
I'm kidding. One of my best friends, he lives in New Braunfels here, which is not far from us. I reconnected with him. We left the military together and hadn't seen each other since I left. He stayed, I think, a little bit after me. I went to LAPD. He went to CHP, unbeknownst to me, and then retired from CHP, moved out here, and then I saw him then. So we had lost touch our entire, police career, et cetera. And he was CHP. So we get together, and I let it fly, man. I let it fly.
I've had lots of run-ins with CHP over the years while I was out riding
I like them.
motorcycles.
I've had some cool. I've been pulled over by a few that were really good to me. Let's just say, really good to me.
We got pulled over by one, which ended up going from 1 to 13 squad cars, 2 SWAT trucks, and a helicopter. We were,
it's a long story. Should we dive in?
We were a motorcycle club, and it was just me and one other guy riding, and they saw the clip from my pocket knife. California, that's a concealed weapon.
Yeah.
So
you can conceal a gun in California, and it's a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
You conceal a knife, it's a felony.
Yeah.
So when I was a cop, I asked about that, and they said because it takes more malice of forethought to stab somebody as. It's more sensitive. It's more, right?
Personal,
you got to be crazier, basically, than a gun. And that was their reasoning, which still doesn't hold water, make sense to me, because you can kill 50 people with a gun in 4 seconds. You can kill one person with a knife in 4 seconds. So I know it's a weird comparison, but okay, so that's pretty funny. So you go in the Marine Corps. Did you go in guaranteed job or just go in open general?
Oh, no, I went in as a 0311 as an infantryman.
Okay.
So through boot camp was 03. So that was that. Obviously, in boot camp, they kind of give a little bit more attention. I mean, my senior drill instructor was a grunt.
Okay.
And then one of our kill hats was a grunt. So the grunts got specific attention more than some others.
So that's what I wanted to ask is, do they know what your MOS is supposed to be? Well, do you guys call it MOS?
Yeah, it's still an MOS, yeah.
We call it AFSC.
Okay.
But I know that MOS is for everybody else. So do they know your MOS when you're in basic?
Yep.
Because they didn't. For us, they don't know what anybody's really going to be until they ask you. I think towards the end, they sit everybody down. They were like, hey, you're going to be this. You're going to this school. You're going to this school. And that's when they finally find out. Because they have no idea when you're going through our school. So
Yeah, no,
they do know with you guys.
They know from the beginning when they get your name, where you're from, and all your information. It says what your contract is. I mean, if you're open contract, it says open. So like our junior hat was a sapper, engineer.
Okay. Yeah.
And he paid attention to the other engineers. He's like, you're going to come into my hood. You're going to know what you're doing.
Okay.
And then they would poke fun at, oh, you're admin. You're doing this. You're doing that. And give them extra attention.
Unfair, dude. But that's the way Marine Corps works, right? So I think, do you think that's a part of it? This is me, a non-Marine, asking because people are going to want to know about the branches and that aren't Marines or that we're another branch. Do you think that ribbing and that treating you differently because you're one of them, or you're going to be infantry, so you better be prepared for this, adoration of the training, this evolution or whatever? Do you think that's because your first introduction to the Marines is you better harden up? This is a tough place to be with tough people, with a tough job, regardless of just the community itself. Do you think that's part of the hardening process too? Is kind of teaching you to be thicker skinned, or no?
It is, yeah. So the entire Marine Corps, as far as that goes, is they want that for everybody. Because obviously we're taking everyone in from all over the country, from every different walks of life. So, there's guys that didn't know how to dress themselves properly. I'm sure you dealt with this in boot camp and all stuff. Don't know how to make a bed.
Well, no, because they had to score higher to get in the Air Force. I'm kidding.
That's a whole nother conversation. Get out of here. But yeah, so they try to harden everyone up, obviously, because the Marine Corps, as a big misnomer is the Marine Corps is like physical. The Marine Corps boot camp's all mentality. There's a lot of physicality to it.
I mean, that's all tuning. I tell everybody this all the time, especially people that Weston's coming over today. We're helping try to get in the Green Beret program. I tell people that all boot camps are like that to an extent. It's a mental game, right? It's pay attention to detail. It's because you're handling dangerous things, expensive resources, personnel, obviously OBSEC, COMSEC, like highly sensitive everything, and you got to have your wits about you. I was telling a story yesterday of. Somebody's asking me, hey, our kid wants to go in the Air Force. What can you teach him? I said, well, any push-ups, pull-up, sit-ups, and all that stuff. Yeah, go do it, but it's the mental game, right? It's simple things like, I don't know if you called it like living out of your laundry bag.
Yep.
Okay, so you have one set of clothes that is judged, right? They come in, they inspect it, and if your shirt is not perfectly square, there's a little tinge hanging out, you get demerit. Enough demerits, you can't go anywhere on base. You can't do anything. You have to stay in on Sunday. Can't go to church. Like you get hammered, right? Or physical, beat downs.
Yeah, incentive training.
Yeah, probably more physical on your side. For us, it's like you always don't get to go to the PX today.
Well, the fact that you get to say that you guys get weekends off and go to the PX is.
Well, yes,
we didn't have that.
Yes, no. I'm not going to deny it, but I'm not going to affirm it either. But yeah, so so what you did is that when you didn't get any demerits and it was perfect, you leave it. You never that thing's brand new when you leave basic training if you're smart. Your laundry bag's supposed to be dirty and you have what you're wearing. But we would have 1 or 2 clean sets in laundry bag. Yeah. And it could be hammered. Dive in there, shuffle the dirty stuff to the bottom. You have what you wear, you have your clean stuff, your dirty stuff in your laundry bag, you have 1 set. They're not stupid. They know you should have 2 more sets in there. Yeah. Or whatever the number is. And at the end they do the King's X, like, what did you guys get away with? What'd you do that we probably didn't know about?
Yeah, the little school circle
period, right?
at the end of boot camp.
So we did that, and like, well, I lived down my laundry bag. He goes, no shit.
Yeah,
like, we're not dumb. We know you should have had more clothes in your in inspection. So I was telling him there's a lot of that. If you can be taught a lot of that prior to going in, then basics is like an absolute breeze. Yeah. Because when you're young, you're scared, you don't know. But knowing what we know now, you go back there, and I would laugh if they were screaming at me because they're going to scream at someone. And if nobody makes a mistake, they'll make something up. Like when I was in police academy, we were doing calisthenics, and keeping your weapon secure is like the most important thing. And you have to take off your Sam Brown, we used to call it the leather duty belt, and you lay them all out, you do your PT. And I watched the instructors out of the corner of my eye, and he walks up, he puts his foot and unsnaps somebody's holster. And he pulls a gun out and goes, whose serial number is this? So the gun guy, the tactics guy, me, everybody knows. I'm like, it's mine. Get out of here. We got to go all the way downstairs to the track, run the track, come back and do more calisthenics. Everybody's all, of course, dude, Mason. I go, guys are like, no way did Mason have his shit on the snap. I promise you, this guy is probably got trauma from not having it. And I go, guys, we were going to run no matter what. The guy walked up and put his foot on the snap. It could have been anybody's. Once my class understood that, it was a breeze.
Yep.
Because everybody realized it is just a game. And they're going to make you're going to run X amount of miles that day. Doesn't matter. Or what they think that class is capable of, because they're going to push you to your limits, right? So I think for the new people or people watching this, thinking about going in, if you're a veteran, you're going to laugh about all these stories, right? But the new person going in, these are the tricks, man, you want to learn. Like
You're
being
gonna-
prepared
yeah,
physically, like
you're
you
gonna
told
play
me earlier.
games.
What'd you say earlier about the physical part?
Yeah, it's more mental than physical.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like we were having coffee this morning, you said something key about, people thinking what they need to prepare for in basic, and it's not what they think.
Like
right?
before I went to boot camp, I was running 15 miles a day and working out, going to the gym, trying to get in shape, because I didn't want to be the slow guy and all that stuff. And I wanted to be able to ace everything that was to what I thought boot camp was going to be.
Yeah.
And get there, and it was not very much of that. Yeah, you do your pull-ups and your push-ups and you run and do all that stuff, but it's all up here, and that's part of what the Marine Corps teaches is the mentality of how to push through all that stuff.
Yeah.
And excuse me, and then a lot of small unit leadership is the one thing that the Marine Corps pushes on huge. Is individual leadership, taking the initiative, and all that stuff. And that's why you see in the Corps, you'll see lance corporals and corporals, E3s, E4s that are in charge of fire teams. Where like in the Army, that's a sergeant's job,
Yeah.
and it's all micromanaged when the Marine Corps.
So
does
that's
not do that.
interesting. I didn't know that. And obviously, you hear even Tier 1 units talk about just how solid and locked on and how quality Marine Corps units, just regular infantry units that they work with are. And I have the utmost respect for Marines. I really do.
Well, that's the cool the thing you talk about your buddy that wants to go do the Green Beret thing. That's actually one of the few Army units that hounds on the small unit leadership, and that's what makes them so successful is because it's based on small unit leadership.
Yeah. So it makes sense for you to say that because like they say how good the Marines are, and then you realize that these are young guys who are selected amongst their peers to lead. And I think that when they get selected, because I've talked to people, I've seen some stuff. I saw a documentary recently where you saw everybody in the unit knew this kid's locked on.
Yeah.
Everybody liked him. So when they select him as unit, everybody congratulate him. They will follow a guy that they like and respect. We know that, right? Good leaders know that. In the civilian world, it's not like that.
No, it's not.
It's like, I don't know how many times in the sales and civilian world, I looked at my leadership, my management, and like, how this guy gets a position and how on God's green earth is he keeping it and he promoted, or how is this guy running an entire shop, an entire 30 people or whatever it is, and $5 million a month and craziness like that. I'm like, this guy's clueless on how to lead.
We saw that. We had that in the Corps side as well,
Okay.
where we had NCOs in charge of people that had no business being in charge of people.
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's anywhere, but I'll bet that's way fewer and far between. Than
It
the
is
civilian
because
world.
I mean you had got guys that if they smooge up with platoon sergeant or first sergeant, whoever it is, to try to be buddy with and rub elbows with, they'll fly under the radar and stay in their positions.
Yeah, that hidden agenda the whole time, right?
It is, yeah. And I had to fight for I was a lance corporal in E3 in charge of 3 corporals under me, and they were all E4s because they didn't have the experience because they were all security force guys, at Kings Bay and stuff like that, guarding the submarine stuff. So they didn't have awesome at CQB. Like, hey, we're going to do CQB, teach us some stuff because that's their main job.
Gotcha.
But as far as like running a fire team or taking over as a squad leader, they didn't have that side of it.
So I talk about that all the time. You have, and I'll use terminology that's just for everybody in general, but like you have operators that are just legendary, so good. They're not team leaders.
No.
And they may not be good instructors.
Yeah.
You see tons of people getting out of the military that don't know any better. They're going to be firearms instructors, they're going to be, tax instructors or YouTubers or whatever, teaching all that stuff. And there's no denying their resume. There's no denying they have the experience of what. But people can't convey that sometimes, right? People can't duplicate that in other human beings. But yet you watch them in a building and they are legendary, right? It's not the same.
It's one thing to do, and it's another thing to teach.
But I have great respect for that, but I have even greater respect for people that know their lane. Know like, hey, listen, I'll do anything my team leader says. I've worked with him. This guy's awesome. Let's lift him up. Let's do everything we can to support him. And I'm going to stay in my lane because I'm real good at my lane.
Yep.
Those guys are legendary dudes that the best teams in the world are built on.
Yeah, well, that's how those teams function at the level they do, because
Yeah.
everyone knows their lane,
Yeah.
and they respect each other's lanes and their abilities in each other, and that's how they flow.
I've always been a team leader mentality, small unit. I love small unit tactics, team leader mentality. You go in a building, I'm the guy that can be, head at the 500-foot level, start ground level, head on a swivel, and kind of move the chess pieces a little bit, even though it's, and even though you're part of the stack. Because we would, at LA on MAR units, we had 6 dudes, and like, we'd enter with 3 to 4 people constantly in your average single-family dwellings, constantly all the time. That's what we did the bulk of our work with, and then we'd call in a trailer or 2 for, hold that while we work all this, or grab this RSD, or secure this evidence, or we'd call in trailers or additional bodies, but we wouldn't throw a stack of 10, 12 people in a building or room. It's just not how it was done in law enforcement. It's not as efficient because you have a lot more furniture, a lot more people, a lot more going on, a lot
For
more.
a single family home,
Yeah,
having a whole
yeah.
squad of people is not.
Yeah, in South LA, right? So they're always cluttered, and,
Yeah.
so yeah, I always liked that position. I think I was cut out for that. And then even in when I did the civilian stuff, sales, and a director that that was my thing, is getting the most out of people with their individual talents and skills, and trying to reach a high with no matter what that team was or how diverse. That was a challenge I loved, but I was always just, I think, built that way, and just how it always ended up being. So Marine Corps obviously sounds like they cultivate that early on, which I think is missing everywhere, right?
And they do, and they do see who's doing what. Like, we had one of our junior Marines on my second deployment, brand new junior, like just picked up E3, just picked up Lance Corporal, and was already a team leader, in charge of guys that were senior than him, just because he was on top. He had the abilities to lead and the abilities to learn, to adjust his learning style and his leading style to be able to lead the guys under him.
And you just need experience. Okay.
And he just needed the experience. And now he's actually Orange County. I think he's sheriff or one of the police departments up
County
there.
sheriffs, yeah.
And has been up there for the past 10 years.
That's awesome. So fast forward on, we get through boot camp. You didn't get rolled back, no injuries, no anything like that? Straight through?
As far that first deployment, no. I mean, just the typical falling, breaking shit.
Yeah.
Nothing
Like,
crazy.
Like us, they'll roll you. They'll keep you in the class until you miss a certain amount. Then they'll roll you back to the next class. And then if they roll you too many times, you may even get a change of career field or just completely start over, which sucks. But I think it's pretty similar DoD wide, like in that respect, right? Okay, so then you get into the infantry, right? What was your first station?
And then Camp Pendleton, California.
Okay, and then you didn't end up just infantry your whole career, right? Because you did.
For the most part, yeah. So I did 2 deployments with 1 unit for my first enlistment. Re-enlisted, and at the time, my wife and I decided, like, hey, it's time for family time, because it was back-to-back combat deployments. So it was constantly in the field, constantly training. I went on my second deployment, and my son, my firstborn, was only 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
And out of that 3 months, I was in the field for 90% of that. So it was, hey, time to slow down. So I went to a training unit, and I'm sure like some of you guys have heard the Crucible for Marine Corps boot camp, which is like the culminating event for the recruits going through boot camp.
Okay.
I was an instructor for that for about 1.5 years.
Gotcha.
And then
You
picked
did
up sergeant.
8 years, right?
Yeah, 8.5, yeah.
So, but I guess I misspoke. Not saying you were just regular infantry. There's no such thing as just regular infantry. They're phenomenal, right? But you specialized a lot. You went to schools, right?
No,
you
not a whole
developed kind of a
bunch.
niche.
Not a whole bunch. There was the problem with that, with the tempo that we were at. It was very hard for them to send a lot of people to schools.
Okay. So it
Because
wasn't
of-
like the SEAL teams where you deploy 6, 8, 9 months, come home, have a year and a half workup, and during that workup, they can shoot some guys out some schools to.
No, so did about 9 months before my first deployment. And then we did that deployment, which was 7.5, 8 months. And then we came back, and it was I think under a year before the next one. But like I said, it was always in the field. So only like very select people, like, we're gonna go send you to a CQB course, and then you come back and teach all the rest of the guys. Or we're gonna send you a defensive driving course, and then come back. But I did like the IED training. I did a bunch of medical courses and stuff like that.
But they give you guys, well, I guess they're more in like, let's share the wealth. Like, let's get everybody as much training as we can get them whenever possible, right?
Exactly.
Whereas
yeah.
a lot of your, I don't want to say for lack of a better term, your upper tier teams, they need more highly specialized
Yes.
people. And that makes all the sense. I'm just trying to wrap my head on how it's organized, how it works in relation to other things that I've experienced with, so you can kind of, and it's interesting for people to hear. Let's say they're thinking about going into the military. Well, what branch do I need to go to? What I go? So some might be like, I physically don't think I can be a Marine, and you're telling them, yeah, you can. That could be great for some.
They're going to fix that. You say you can up here, they're helping
Yeah.
with that.
So I think this could, if I was thinking about going in the military, I think this is information I'd like to hear. These podcasts shouldn't always be about, yeah, I killed 47 people, right? I was in a tier 1 unit, and I did. It needs to
Talk
be
about all the secret squirrel shit I did.
Yeah. What about how the regular dudes like us, what got us in the military? What did we learn? How does the branches work? What was it kind of like? What's the reality of it? How would I prepare? Because if you ask those tier 1 guys how do you prepare, they're going to tell you to put on that kid I'm training from Green Berets, he talked to an actual Green Beret. You know what he told him? He said, put a 50 to 100 pound rucksack on right now and go everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not going to do that. You're 16 and a half years old. You're going to burn yourself out or stress your body out to where your body's so beat up by the time you get there that now you're compounding it. We will work up to it, right? Well, I always say train hard, fight easy.
Yep.
So we're going to train medium
And work up to
for
it.
a longer period of time to where you're durable. I think durability will beat strength, stamina will beat all of that. Durability, because even if you're not the fastest, you're not the strongest, whatever, and you're durable, they can't kill you and you ain't gonna quit. And really, with the Marine Corps, with the Air Force, just don't quit. Like, even the SEALs tell you all the time, man, if you just don't quit, most people can make it. Most people don't even think they can make it, just they quit. So I'm trying to teach him that warrior mentality. The kid has it. I'm trying to magnify it, right? So
That's literally all it is don't quit, keep pushing.
that's it. So I used to say, and this is one of the things I'm telling him, is when I was younger and full of piss and vinegar, I had such grandiose thoughts of my end game. Man, I want to be, I originally wanted to be a SEAL. Everybody's going to laugh at me. But I used to get seasick when I went fishing with my dad and my brother. Every single time.
On a calm lake.
I'm like, damn, well, they go like Catalina Island and, jump by Mexico. And I would get sick every single time, even on fairly calm water, which is funny because then I got my professional fishing career later in life. But so it's like, damn, I can't go in the Navy now. And then I found out, dude, 90% of those guys never even been on boats, except for like training. I didn't know. And then my cousin was in the Army. He was in a high-tiered unit. And he sat me down one time and said, Chris, if you ever want to go in the military, and I was like, hell no, I'm going in the military. Like, kidding me? I buck authority. I was young. He said,
everyone said, oh, I'll punch him in the face.
Throat punch that guy.
The drill instructor comes at me, I'll just knock him out. Like,
Yeah, you ain't my dad.
yeah.
So he told me, you want to go in the Navy, the Air Force. They just treat you phenomenal. You get a great education, and a lot of their jobs translate to the civilian world. His problem was being what he did for a living didn't translate well. He ended up committing suicide due to TBI.
Yeah.
But I never forgot that. So when 9/11 hit, I was like, my patriotism just kicked everything else out of my head and said, you're an able-bodied male adult.
Go do it.
Going. I went, I was in like Hawthorne, Palos Verdes at the time. I went down the recruiter, and I went to the Air Force and said, because Top Gun was out, right? Well, first Navy SEALs was out. So I want to be a Navy SEAL, but I get seasick. But Top Gun was out because that's all we had to go by.
Yeah.
We didn't have the internet. We didn't have
The
social
90s,
media.
everyone running around sleeveless with MP5s.
No one
and stuff,
knew a SEAL. No one knew a pilot, right? Because they weren't allowed to talk about it. They didn't have social media. So I just had what they had to say in movies. When they said, hey, stop Top Gun, man, I want to be a pilot in the Air Force. And they're like, what's your vision? I'm like, better than perfect. What's this? What's this? Better, better. What's your grades like? Better. Better. What's your ASVABs? Through the roof. Well, have you ever broken any bones? I go, yeah, I mean, I broke my left arm in a car wreck when I was like 16. Yep, can't do it. It pulls too many G's. But watch this video. And it was security forces. Wait, I get a blue beret. I get to carry a gun at like 19 years old. M16, bro, sign me up. All right, so
fucking hook,
so
line,
there's
sinker.
the difference between like our era and here. In retrospect, I think I'd have done very, very well in the Marine Corps because I needed that discipline, and they are so good at it. And I will tell you, I'll end every discussion now. I'll end the fight. You have the best uniform in the military.
Damn right we do.
Period. When I watch you guys in dress blues, I'm like, that is phenomenal. Even your camis, or because they've evolved over the years, like have always been awesome, right? I wasn't a fan of your hat. Thanks.
The 8-point cover.
Yeah, I just like the regular like Ranger BDU cap.
Nasty,
Like
yeah.
I have it rolling around here somewhere. But no, and then we got to wear a beret, right? It's a no-brainer. So, you know, that's my quick story. So now we do 2 pumps overseas. Where were you? Afghanistan, Iraq?
Yeah, Afghanistan. Both of them, yeah.
Okay. Where at? What?
2009, we went to Southern Helmand Province.
Ooh.
We were actually my company itself, and even my platoon, we were the most southern unit in all of Afghanistan.
And that was the hotter area, right?
At the time, yeah. So this is before 2010 when they did the push through Marja, and we were the preset to get ready for Marja. So it was like try to start pushing people out of certain fields and out of certain cities and stuff like that. I mean, we were only like 30 miles from Pakistan. Like we were south.
Wow. Well, you had somewhere to run and hide if you got in trouble. I just hear all these stories. I had a buddy that was, I think it was 5th group many years ago, and he's like, I bought this Breitling GMT watch. So if I'm deployed, I'm in deep shit, you pull it and it sends GPS out. It's the emergency they called it. And you were close to Pakistan, so I knew I'd just go to Pakistan. And I was like, whoa. And now I go, this dude, man. Like,
It's
over
James Bond stuff
right?
going on over here.
So, but yeah. All right, so 2 pumps Afghanistan. I do know, and we're not going to underglorify, we're not going to overglorify it. You were awarded the Purple Heart, right? And I don't care if you award it for a scratch. I had a friend, don't talk to me more, but he was on a rooftop during a gunfight and just took some shots off the wall, right? I think I don't remember, just some debris. Wasn't even shrapnel, debris. Superficial, got a Purple Heart. You were there. You're still in combat. You still did the work. You were still experienced it. You still have it rolling around in your head.
Every day.
We'll talk about that. It's not about the scratch, right? It's about the indelible mark that experience made on you, and the military does not give that out lightly. Am I right?
Correct.
Now,
I know a bunch of people that have gotten injured with IED blasts and vehicles and RPGs like that, and were injured and were never awarded it at all.
But, which is crazy.
So it happens.
And so that's not to say that how you got it or whatever is good, bad, or indifferent. If you've earned it, you've earned it, period. But you earned yours in a different way, which is not stereotypical, right? So how did yours go down?
Well, start from the beginning. We thought it was a normal day, going out patrolling. This one was a little bit different. Came down the pipeline that, hey, we want you guys to start clearing buildings out. Because where we were, it was Sangin Valley in Afghanistan, in Helmand Province. At one point, the Marine Corps went through, dropped leaflets out of there. It was the deployment before ours, and told all civilians to get out of there because it was so Taliban heavy. Like the Marine Corps was going to go roll through there and just get everyone out, kill everybody. So the Brits had a hard time there, super hard time. I'm talking like their patrols were like 100, 150 yards outside the wire. So not far. And then another unit, Marine Corps took over. They pushed out to like 250, 300 yards. And then our sister battalion went out there and they started pushing out further and further. And they got worked pretty hard because of Taliban, how heavy they were out there. So there was a lot of legacy stuff all over the place, from the Brits being out there and then prior Marine units being out there. So it came down the pipeline from battalion that they wanted us to start clearing out houses. Not in the tactical sense of like, hey, let's blow this door down and get all the bad guys out. Like these were all abandoned houses as it was already, which is a job for like engineers and EOD. And we had one compound marked, do not enter. Because you can look over the wall and there were still gear and parts of other guys from the prior deployments. All of it screwed all over the compound. And we were going from top to bottom, one compound to the next, and we lost track of what compound we were in, and we ended up inside said compound. My point man, I don't want to say any names, he was coming down some steps, sweeping, and there was steel and ball bearings fucking everywhere. He hit an ID, and he was right above the ankle. So I was right outside, we were posting security, so I grabbed our corpsman and our RO, and we made entry. Swept through the entryway, which was impossible to sweep through just because of all the shrapnel, everything that was all over the place. Got to him, started treating him. Our squad leader was in the process of calling his 9-line, and you know what a 9-line is, for casualty evacuation. And he was an Iraq vet. He went to Iraq a couple times. Different atmosphere. Yeah. So he was very used to pacing around. And it was something that we worked with him, like, hey, you can't pace around out where we're going. We're walking around minefields. You can't do that. He ended up stepping on an IED, and that tore him up. And then while we were treating the first one, it knocked me, my platoon sergeant, and our corpsman out. And we all woke up on top of the first casualty. We thought the squad leader was like gone. And then finally saw him moving the one appendage he had left through the clouds, through the smoke and everything. And then, yeah, that was...
So how close were you to the blast that affected you?
Probably maybe 10 yards, maybe.
And what do you think the maximum effective, like kill radius used to call it, should have been on that?
A lot more. So when we had EOD come in, they did the post-blast analysis. And that was what they measured out was a 45-pound IED, but it was a low order debt because of how long it had been sitting.
My first inclination is, I don't have personal experience with it, but I a lot of friends, and I know data, and I have a friend that went overseas and that I trained with in Nashville, and that's what he did, is all the post-blast and a lot of Humvee investigations and stuff, and I can tell you, your typical IED, 10 yards away, it's game over.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know of any stories I've ever heard where somebody survived.
We were all lucky. The engineer that we had with us, who was our main sweeper and stuff like that to help us out with IEDs, that was stayed with us at all times, he was probably maybe 6-7 yards. Like, he was super close. He was actually the closest one to our squad leader. When he was hit, he was the first one to get to him. There was guys that were about the same distance but were up on the roofs. So there was a lot more that could have happened.
So the guys that didn't, succumb to the injuries, how was the extent of their injuries? How lucky did they get?
Most of them were fine. There were, the headaches and stuff like that. For a lot of the guys, there were a bunch of TBIs throughout the squad because we were inside a closed space. And when you're inside closed spaces, concussions like that actually grow when they reverberate.
Right.
So it tends to mess you up even more. So yeah, like I said, the three of us that woke up on top of our point man, we all got rocked pretty hard, all knocked unconscious. Our engineer, he was rocked real hard. He got messed up. He still deals with a lot of stuff.
But other than the initial 2 casualties, everybody, appendages intact, full recovery. So
yeah, we were out patrolling the next day.
Wow. And so I think, it was Jocko's podcast I just listened to recently, where he's like, what can you do? The mission goes on, unfortunately, that you got to go to work. And did you find yourself dealing with, because the trauma doesn't set in immediately, right?
No.
Your depression does, your emotion does, of course, but the effects that trauma.
During that time, we were still treating. We were treating point man, treating squad leader, waiting for CASEVAC to come in, and it was still on, okay, what are we doing? Who's taking over the squad? Is it me or someone else? When are we going back out to go back to work? Because there is no dwell time. The couple of us, so it was myself, my platoon sergeant, and our corpsman, and our engineer, we were all grounded for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So we, in turn, weren't allowed to go back to work. Like, I got in trouble because the next day I put my kit back on and started going to all the posts to go check on our guys.
So let's highlight something real quick, if you don't mind. There's a lot of difference between military and police, right, in terms of that. So when I was involved in what we call an OIS, an officer involved shooting, everybody calls them gunfights now. You guys call them contact, gunfights, what? It's an OIS for us, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the universal term. Special Order 3, I'm pretty sure it was, says that you can't go back to duty until you're cleared hot through behavioral sciences, BSS, we call it.
Go see the wizard, yeah.
Yeah. So you got to go talk about your feelings and all that stuff, and look at shapes. I'm kidding, but it ended up being a phenomenal experience. It was my first experience with any kind of therapy ever, and I loved it. And I to this day, what I got out of it was that's good. and there's benefit from it. And talking to somebody and asking and being asked the questions were extremely helpful, right? So for you guys, you didn't have that back then,
No,
right?
we don't
It
have it
was-
even now. If you're
You at least
deployed-
had somebody saying, "Dude, don't work today."
Well, so
And that
the
was
problem
rare,
with
right?
that was the cognitive abilities were out the window.
Yeah,
Because we have what's called a MACE exam, which is to see after like a severe concussion, TBI, stuff like that, to say, how are you doing? Can we have a conversation? And then can you recite that conversation back to me? I couldn't even tell you my name after a week. I could have a full-on conversation with Corman doing the tests. Hey, what's 2 + 2? I don't know. Where are you from? Couldn't tell you.
So mine wasn't that bad, but they did tell me, everything is a TBI. You can bump your head and it's a TBI, technically, whatever. But when I had my first really bad one, I was having all kinds of symptoms lingering, and we didn't know what it was back then, and the police department surely wasn't diving into all that stuff like the military was. So I was having all this, and you still see it and hear it in these podcasts, some some conjunctive words that I throughout most of my career I wasn't doing. I will search to this day for words that I know, things I know. I'll say, well, the, and I just can't come up with it for a minute, that brain fog. My brain fog was so thick and so bad. I went back to work after one of mine. I've had 4 or 5. After one of mine, I went back to work, and I had a discussion with somebody at work, and I was in a management position. We were talking about Obama not proving his citizenship, and normally I could just have a conversation, be like, well, how come you have a president and we can't prove his citizenship? But I was getting like argumentative with him, which is not my personality. Anybody who knows me, I'm not. HR called me and goes, what's going on? I go, I'll be honest with you. I didn't realize it, but that crash I had, it's affected me.
Yeah.
And they're like, take a couple days. Like, you're not getting in trouble. I'm glad you said that. We need to know. It was actually one of the better companies I've worked for in the sales industry. And I'll say it was Total Clicks Automotive Group back out in like Orange County, great people. And they're like, you need take a couple days, take what you need. But I got rear-ended by, I was in a truck and I was slowing down about 5 miles an hour on a 1500 Ram. I got rear-ended by a 2500 with a full load trailer. And he was doing like 25, 30 and just no brakes. And everything hit everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Had a TBI similar to that right after we got back.
Okay. And for people that don't know, with these TBIs, like, it wreaks havoc on you.
Everything.
So I want to get a little bit away from the military career, if you don't mind, because
Yeah,
I wanted to hit the highlights. And there's some things we have on a little board here we want to go over. I just want a lot of benefit from this, from you being here. So what people don't know about the TBIs and about the PTSD is, one, coming to terms and saying it's a thing. I have it. I suffer from it, whatever terminology you want to use. And I found, luckily, through, and I'll give him every plug, my buddy Johnny, won't talk about names, but he's a prior SEAL Team 3 guy. He introduced me to a lot of his team guys, and I got so much help. They had all been through a lot of different treatments, hyperbarics, psilocybin, ibogaine, name it, and I was learning a lot. But I was looking up to these guys and going, hey, these guys are freely admitting it to me and saying that they were jacked up and like they're conversating with me about it. I looked up to these guys, right? And they really guided DJ Shipley, his podcast. I've told him personally to his face what effect it's had on me. I've messaged him. He's been so helpful to me. Even a couple of Marine Raiders that were on the internet that I hit up and go, hey man, how did you deal with this stuff? And these guys, yeah, bro, you can't help any other veterans till you get right. And I got some really good. So now, these people I looked up to, said, dude, it's a thing, it's okay, and you need to get out of it. Then my wife, after just progressively getting worse, because it's like a pressure cooker over time, right? And then it's going to start bleeding off in ways that you don't notice the cause.
Yep.
And my wife was like,
side effects to it.
yeah, my wife, God bless her, she's so ride or die. She was like, you got to get a handle on this. You better call the VA, like see someone now. I'm not done, but I'm done dealing with this. Yeah. And she's good that way. You can only push her so far, and she's going to tell you, cut it. She's awesome. So anyway, I started knowing it's a thing. So when I originally got rated for the VA, I went in to get tested, and I got 70% right off the bat. This lady asked me questions, and I immediately got choked up, started tearing up. I was like, what is this? I cried since I was like 8 years old. I was taught men don't cry.
Yep.
And I was like, and she just says, that's enough.
Let it out.
And she says, you got some stuff you need to deal with, and you're definitely, she didn't tell me the rating, they can't, but she was telling me, she goes, and I have seen someone from your actual deployment, it was Operation Safe Haven, dealing with the Cuban refugees in Panama. I've already seen someone from your actual deployment, and he's very similar reaction when I ask these same questions to. I can't say who it is, and to this day I don't know who it was. And it was a 44-man team. But I'm still in touch with a lot of them. We have a group chat to this day on Facebook. But right off the bat, in later on in life, I went back and they shot me up to 100% because obviously it doesn't get better.
No, no, it does not.
So these are things I've learned, and I've had treatments over time. I want it to be more about you, and we'll dive into some of my experience a little bit maybe. But how did you realize or come to the admission that I have a problem, and this is what it is?
So that, my ex-wife would tell me all the time. And being the macho man, being a Marine was, nah, that's not me. That's not me.
Suck it up and press on.
And I was at the training unit at the time, and that's when it was like really hit me the worst, is when you slow down.
Yeah.
So I was working like a normal 9-to-5 job, go in, and come home every night, go home for lunch. Like I thought it was great. The home side of it, not so much, I guess. From my perspective, my ex-wife was like, and it got to the point where one day I came home and my son was only like 3 at the time, would go run to his room and hide. So I asked my ex-wife, I was like, hey, why, what's the deal? And she goes, he's fucking afraid of you. Because I was always lashing out. I was always angry and always, not having a good time. And all that pent up stuff would come out at home.
Yep.
You leave home, you put the mask on, you be the professional, and you're fine. But when you're home, you're more relaxed, and that's where it all came out. And
yeah, you're alone with your feelings. I say idle hands, right?
yes, it's
Idle
exactly
hands
what it
is
was.
horrible when you.
I wasn't working on bikes yet at that time. It was playing Call of Duty and Battlefield and drinking all the time, and that's what it was.
So, not to stop you to interject, it's a key point. What I learned is that what perpetuates trauma is avoidances.
Yep.
My problem is avoidances, and a lot of us, Call of Duty video games. I'm not a gamer. I'm
neither
not,
am I.
but I play them a lot, and I only play the tactical ones. Why? Because you get away from what haunts you most, doing a similar thing with no harm, and you get out of your head. And those positive endorphins and that little bit of we love adrenaline. Some of that's a little bit of adrenaline, man. Some dude pops out, and you're like, it gives you a little bit of that spike.
Yep.
That adrenaline spike, right, counteracts the negative chemicals from us feeling like shit, frankly. And we all do it. So, but some people get a little bit more. They have more addictive personalities. They need a stronger jolt, so they go after adrenaline, right? Dudes jumping out of airplanes. Dudes like going and being contractors, or they do women, or they do booze, or they do drugs, or they do all the above, or whatever they do, or they workaholics. They start 5 companies. We've seen it 1,000 times. But what I learned is these avoidances perpetuate PTSD. They don't just keep it around, but they ultimately make it worse. So, like I would go hunting every weekend, hour and a half away to my hunting property. I would go to the gym twice a day. I competed. I got heavy into contest prep coaching again. I did that off and on many years. I was in the gym like nobody's business. I competed myself a couple times in masters, and I took that to extreme. I was fishing when I got injured and left LAPD. I didn't know what to do. Couldn't play hockey. Couldn't do all these things I loved. I became a professional bass fisherman on the tour. I did the U.S. Open. I did this. I did that. Right? Sponsored by Ranger, Mercury, Costa Del Mar. Like I did really well. They're avoidances, man.
They 100% are.
Yeah. And I learned this over. Unfortunately, this is why I bring this up to y'all. Over way too many years, that learning curve was so bad.
Well, that was a big part of the problem was, so after my ex-wife told me that, I went and saw the wizard. So, okay, obviously there's something wrong. Did that for a couple months. Okay, I'm cured, I'm fine. I got sent back to the fleet after I picked up sergeant, did that, ended up being platoon sergeant for an infantry unit. Everything was gravy. I thought everything was gravy.
Right.
But I got back into the tempo. We were in the field all the time, we were training all the time. And then stuff started coming up again, started to have disassociation. Like we're in the field doing live fire training, and I'm calling people names from combat, from prior unit, and having all these issues because I'm flashing back, having all these issues. And then the home thing came out again. Was, hey, we need to have a talk. Like I'm done. Like what you said, the wife drew the line. She goes, you need to go look at her or we're out.
Yeah.
And at that time we had our daughter, so it was okay. Went and talked to the wizard again. I say, hey, we're having all these issues. Started being honest with myself about it, talking to her, because she started asking the right questions. And then, yeah,
You think it's all about the therapist, right?
it is. And then and it was a woman. And so the macho thing can kind of go out the side instead of like talking to a man, like I
Yeah.
puff my chest out.
Yeah.
And I broke down right there in her, never met this lady before in my life. Broke down right there in her fucking office. And from that moment, she goes, boom, we're pulling you out. Like, you're done. You need to take care of this. No more training, no more this and that. And
That's the problem, though.
no, it
You're
was a
finally
change.
getting the solution, but that's what men fear most. I'll tell you why. When I was a police officer, and I never brought up all my stuff from the military and all my stuff as a police officer as time went on, because I was chasing the dragon, man. I ran into, if I heard gunfire, I put the throttle down the car and I turned the car around, like just running into it time and time again. That was all stacking up. And when I was working specialized units, and we call it kicking doors, right? But it's like you're serving search warrants, you're doing high risk warrants, you're doing impromptu. You know, the guy runs the building, set up on it, kick the door and go get him. Lots of that different stuff that I love to death, and great tempo. And I didn't want to share those problems because I did not want to. I wanted to kick that next door the next day.
Yep.
I was not going to. One, I don't want to seem weak in my team's eyes. And I was like a team leader. They called it an operations officer. So when tactical, they would look at me and go, okay, how are we stacking up? Who's doing what? Let's go. And you need that, right? So, and I loved it. There was no way I was going to let my team kick a door by themselves. It never had happened. And the entire time I was in that unit, I don't think we ever kicked a door without somebody. Just a great group of dudes. And then I just didn't want to be left behind. I didn't want to miss any of the action. I didn't want them telling stories. Man, remember when you did that rolling 60 hit the other day? And I'm like, that's a problem. That's a problem, because I went into all that stuff unknown, semi-broken, right, or at least fractured. And I did fine, and everything was good, because that's when I focused well.
Yeah.
But that's wrong. I could have still kicked the door with some help. I still could have been talking to people and still kicked the door. And I think, yes, there needs to be a call made where you're pulled out of a combat environment, because that maybe is a little bit different. I don't know. Do you think that it was the right call to say, hey, dude, you're not
100%.
operational?
100%.
Hit pause?
Where I was fighting officers and staff NCOs and stuff.
Okay.
And I was out looking for fights, trying to get that violence. I got to the point where my CO, looked at me and the XO was like, go take your rank off, go to the tree line. Get away from the company, guys. Go fix your shit.
That's the old school stuff.
It 100% was. But I had the mentality of like, hey, I'm a sergeant. If I'm not pissing staff off, I'm doing something wrong. And like my introduction to my XO was not a good one. Because I called him out, right? Like,
no, the enlisted guys loved you for it, but obviously it was career suicide.
He was arguing with our gunny, with our company gunny. And the company gunny sergeant is your tactical liaison to your company commander.
Yeah, he's the guy.
And so the XO is like, this is what the book says. This is what the book says. And company gunny, who's been in for 15, 16 years, I think at the time he was on his 12th combat deployment, and he led the Scout Sniper program for the Marine Corps for like 3 years. So the dude knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm in there in my pickle suit, the green, service uniform that we wear, because I'm checking into the unit, and he's arguing with Gunny. He's like, well, the book is this, and the book's that, and this and that. And Gunny's like, dude, when the rounds start flying, the book goes out the fucking window.
Yeah.
And so I like interjected myself, and I was like, sir, not to be disrespectful or anything, but that's your combat liaison for the entire company, and he's got the experience, so you should probably listen to him. And the XO literally just turned on his chair and says, who the fuck are you? So I kind of like, I knew who the gunny was. We've had prior contact before, and he knew who I was and stuff like that. So I kind of just like looked down at my chest, like all my ribbons and stuff on, and looked at Gunny, and Gunny just goes, and turned around. I said, sir, I've been there once or twice, my fucking
Did that
self.
change the dynamic at all, or no?
With the XO?
Or make it worse, yeah.
Oh, it made it worse.
Yeah, figures.
Because that was our introduction. That's how we learned each other. And I was now one of his platoon sergeants for one of his platoons in his company.
Gotcha.
So we always had butted. He always wanted to be up here when the company was down here still.
We've all had that everywhere. You run into that, and guys just they think they're here and they want to be here. They're just going about it all wrong. I think they only knew what they knew, and a lot of those guys hopefully matured over time.
From what I heard, he never did. He was the guy who had one deployment under his belt on a MEU, so he was on a boat the entire time. But because he had that deployment and some training, he thought he was
Oh yeah, gotcha.
top notch.
Yeah, I've had those,
But
unfortunately.
that was the problem. The ex-wife, that was her worry was, well, you're already being violent. You're already doing all that stuff. You're already lashing out. She goes, either you end up going to kill yourself or you end up killing someone on this. Because we were getting ready to go on a UDP to Australia. And she goes, you've been on nothing but combat deployments. Well, the 2 that I was on. You're going to lose your mind over there. You guys are just going to go sit over and do fucking nothing and go train. She was probably right. It was probably the right call for the wizard to say, hey.
Knowing us, yeah, I would agree. And when I say us, everybody that suffers from what we suffer from and have dealt with what we dealt with, we're all similar. We're so damn similar. I've learned into really cool holistic doctors that, I don't mean holistic like tree hugging hippie way. I mean like they treat everything, all the labs throughout the body. They treat it as like operator syndrome, they call it. It's all related. The brain fogs, the brain swelling, the GI, like they say it's all, and they say it's across the board with all of us.
Yeah.
They treat it a little bit differently each person because we're biologically different, but it's across the board. Okay, so now you know it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know you got it. And you're coming to terms with it. You're going, yeah, this is a thing, and I experience it. I think for me, when that happened, and I was like, wow, I do have this. This is a thing. That was one of my aha moments.
Oh,
when
100%.
I first started seeing, because I'm a improvement person. I've always been my whole life, 1% better every day. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm my new project. This is my next growth phase. And I was just trying to do everything I could do, just like anybody that wants to be better. And I forget the order, but one of the first things that I realized is a couple epiphanies, and I'll skip through all the stuff that I've been through. Johnny, I mentioned, really helped me tremendously, and it's not about me. I'm going to spend time on that. But one therapist told me and my wife went to couples therapy thing at UT. They were the cutting edge of research on PTSD. So good. They said, first thing I want to tell you guys is us and 2 other couples. You do not suffer from PTSD. You do not have a disorder. You are not broken. PTSD is an angry roommate, and when we teach you guys how to live with it.
Yeah.
So it no longer became, and I wish maybe you'd have done that with your wife. Maybe say, well, maybe it wasn't. It definitely was the fork in the road changer for us. And it's no longer her versus me. It's us versus it. And that was the best thing I could have heard at that juncture, period. And I try to push that on to everybody that'll listen. That was a huge thing to hear. That and the avoidance piece was a big deal for me, because now you start to understand it. Because I was told, I went to therapy a bunch of times to the VA and thought, I got a handle on this. Yeah. I'm good, I'm cured. And then I would fuck up in the same manner that I was before.
Yeah.
For me, it was getting attention from other women. That was my issue. I wasn't a sex addict, I wasn't like that. But like, although I seemed very confident, actually I was down here.
Oh, 100%. And that's why you did it with the women, is try to get the confidence back.
That, and I wanted that adrenaline spike. I wanted to dilute the negative things going on in my body constantly. This battle between my ears, constant, right? Relentless battle that is waging that you don't know why. And it would douse that fire for a little bit, so I would want more. And I would take the discussions to inappropriate levels, right? And I'm a smart guy, so are you. You tell me, hey, don't cross that threshold like that, do it like this. I never make that mistake again. Don't hold your pistol like that. It's not going to be good recoil control. I will never do it that way again. But I was doing this over and over to my wife and my family, and over and over. And that's what broke the camel's back for me. Obviously, my wife was way over it, until I started learning these things and understanding why I do it. And then it was like a light switch. When I actually had people that really knew about it, it was like, well, that's stupid. That's fucking dumb. That's why I do it. I don't need that attention. I'm not an attention whore. I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
We all are, all type A's. But now it's like, I don't give 2 shits. I'm too old. I don't care. Look at me. I'm losing my fucking hair. I'm gray. Like, what do I care?
I got fucking places that are growing that I never thought would grow.
I lost 15 pounds of muscle the last 2 months because I got off TRT and I'm feeling like shit, but we'll fix that. Okay, we took a little bit of break. I edit that in there. Some people
like 3 cups of coffee deep. You all had to.
We called it the ravine latrine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so trauma, therapy, that's just a little bit of mine. And I'll fast forward it because there's another topic I want to talk about before this ends, and I'm going to hit generally an hour. We're going to frame this out. And the listener, we still have something really cool, really good for you to watch, so stay tuned for a second. I went from that to the therapies, to the couples thing, to ultimately, I'm going to fast forward mine because this probably is a whole podcast, both of us.
We can do this for days.
I was suicidal.
Same.
Didn't answer the phone for anybody. Shut it off. My wife would call 42 times. the whole bit. My buddy Johnny, he'll never even understand the effect he had on my life, my family. He called me, and I had turned the phone on to write the note. I wrote the note. It's on there. I've sent it to my wife. Still on my phone for good reason. And I answered the phone because it rang and I saw him and I thought, this guy's done so much for me. He's impacted my life so much. He's got me to where I am today. But it was a culmination of too many things. And I had made one more mistake thinking I was cured and I wasn't. So I made a final bad mistake. Could have ruined my whole entire family. And he said, give me 5 minutes. You owe me that. I was like, fuck. When, like, if you would tell me, as much as I know you, hey, you owe me this. Fuck,
All right, I got you.
It's a code.
Yep.
Yeah. So he called me back up and says, you're going on emergency retreat with 2 other dudes, recon guy and Green Beret, and you're going to parts unknown. We'll get you out there, and you're going to do a psilocybin retreat. And my first reaction was, I'm not putting that tree hugging hippie bullshit in my body.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Yep.
I'm not doing that, backwoods voodoo stuff or whatever. I was very much a naysayer. But I remember going to a movie premiere about SEALs and with a bunch of SEALs called Warhorse One. Bunch of famous people there, I'm not going to name drop. And they all got in a crowd were telling me about the experience.
Yeah.
And they were all imparting this. This is people that are massive in social media. I listened. And but I still was like, no, it's not for me. It's not for me. That's not where I'm at. I'm not that bad. I'm not like them. I'm not broken enough. I'm not, right?
Making every excuse you can to make yourself feel like you're
minimizing
fine.
me as a person in general, as my experiences weren't as bad as theirs, or I wasn't deserving as them. Like I don't.
Which is always a thing why people don't want to seek help. Is well, there's other people that are worse than I am.
I don't deserve VA benefits. I'm not missing a leg.
Yeah.
Like right, that's a thing in our community.
Which actually ends up hurting everyone.
hurts everyone.
Yeah.
The money is going to get taken by someone else and
Yeah.
used nefariously. We know
Well,
that.
if we don't have the vets that are using it,
Yeah,
the government says, well, you don't have any vets, so we're going to cut your budget this year.
Yes.
So it ends up hurting everyone.
I went on the emergency retreat and I did bufo, combo, and psilocybin, just mushrooms. They mix up in cocoa and drink it. So I don't want to get into that whole experience. It was life-changing. I'd love to go into detail about it just for others to hear and experience because I can articulate it fairly well where some people can't.
Yeah.
They just say it's life-changing. I can articulate exactly what happened and what effects it had on me. But I did that and it absolutely changed my life. The most powerful thing I've done ever, ever, ever. Some of my best decisions I've ever made is marry my wife, moving to Texas. God bless. I came back to America. Land of the free, home of the brave.
Yeah.
And that retreat. Not joining LAPD, not signing the military, deploying. Like those are the 3 things, right? And then my relationship, my faith. I would say that's on there too, obviously. Not family events, not milestones, my career, none of it. So that's my story and where I ended up, and I haven't made this mistake since. And it's been almost 2 years, and it's been good, dude. And I've come to a lot of really good epiphanies. Now, the damage to my family's still there. You know this more than anybody. You're still probably working on your relationship with your kids. You've been out here at the farm with the kids, the little ranch, and they're wonderful, and you have a great relationship with them. Guarantee you're still working on it, right?
Oh, 100%.
So
Everything can always be better.
So I framed it out because I want you to tell me, like, similar to what I just said, like, what was your journey, your path?
So with all that, like, so being a partier before the Marine Corps, obviously I had my toes dipped into that, to the psilocybin, the mushroom stuff before, but that was more on the let's party and go to the moon type of deal, not like, hey, let's use it as medicinal. So after the Marine Corps with all the PTSD and the trauma and all that stuff and the depression, because same thing, sit in the shower with the 45, like, is today going to be that day? And that was a thing. Yeah, especially after my ex-wife and I split up and I lost the kids for a bit. Like that was, I worked years to get back out of the dark hole after deployments and all that stuff, after I retired. And then obviously that hole came crashing down. It dropped me right back in that hole. So same thing, trying to find, to get that, that fix through women, through the motorcycle racing, and, it came to that head. And then I was, a couple times a year, we'd go out with the club when I was still with the club, and we got to the desert, Landers out in California. And, one trip would be with all the kids and one trip would be just adults. And it was with one of the trips for all the adults, we go out there shooting and off-roading and drinking and partying and do all that stuff. and someone brought a bunch of mushrooms out. I was like, you know what, it's been a long time, so why not? So handful, and
I did 5 grams. This guy's talking about a handful.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'd do it with the kids, but if I were to sit down and watch a movie with the kids just to have like a good visual effect, I'll eat like an eighth, which is like 3.5 grams. But you know, I ate a bunch, and luckily, so out in the desert, luckily his property was fenced in. He had 5 acres fenced in, a total of 15 acres. But out in the desert, you can get lost very easily because it's out in the middle of nowhere. And it was a moonless night, and I, went out to go relieve myself out by a bush, and I'm sitting there and I'm staring at the stars on this moonless night out in the middle of the desert in California, and just overwhelming peace came over me. And next thing you know, just the fireworks started happening up in the sky, and
For real or just to you?
oh, just to me.
Because the desert, they do
I
that.
probably ate like 10 or 12 grams that night of mushrooms.
Jeez.
I mean, one mushroom by itself
2.5 times what I did to change my whole life.
I ate one mushroom was 4 grams by itself. It took me 3 beers just to get that one mushroom down.
Jesus.
But it was like that overwhelming sense of calmness and peacefulness that I haven't had probably ever.
Yeah.
With the whole childhood and everything else and going on up to that point. And I'm sitting there and I'm just watching the fireworks happen, and I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm feeling like $1 million. I'm no longer depressed. I'm no longer saying, fuck all this, fuck all that. And I'm just like, this is amazing. And obviously, walk back by the group, and they're like, well, where have you been? Like, oh, I'm watching the fireworks. And everyone does this, and they start looking around. And
Well,
they're like,
if you're not from California, when you go out there in the desert, my whole family does it all the time. Like, people shoot off fireworks all the time year round. So that's why I said, for real or no?
yeah, no. And when I said the fireworks, which we had fireworks with us, and everyone was like, well, we didn't light. Like, what fireworks are you talking about?
We didn't light it yet.
And it took one buddy goes, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. And after that was like, okay, let's incorporate this, but on a mild scale.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So like I was doing PTSD groups, still doing outpatient stuff with the VA. I was out with a veteran organization called Warrior Built Foundation, and they do like recreational, vocational therapies for combat veterans specifically, because there's that fine line of having people that have PTSD or anger issues and stuff that aren't combat vets and then are combat vets.
Yeah.
And
It's similar,
it
but not.
becomes worse when you intertwine the two together, because now you have guys that have picked their buddies up and put them inside their piece inside sandbags, and then you have so and so over here complaining because they got yelled at. You can't put those two together.
Yeah.
I'm the reason why the Navy separated the two.
Really? Because they can't put you with those dudes.
So when I was still I was going through the medical separation side of things before I was retired. My therapist is like, well, I'm going to send you to an anger management class. It's like anger management / PTSD. Obviously, you have both. We're going to send you this and there. And I'm sitting there with like all the combat vets set on one side. Obviously, you go in there and there's dudes missing legs and arms and scars everywhere. So I'm like, well, those are my people. I'm going to go sit over there with them. And we're all sitting there, and they go around the room. Everyone's introducing each other. And there's this chick, and she's crying and complaining. Her and her husband were trying to get pregnant for the past 5 years. Got pregnant. Now she's got PTSD. And then there's another guy who got yelled at by his corporal because he was late and his uniform was messed up. And he's crying and complaining about that. It's like, you can't put these two together.
So I don't deny that, because I've always said trauma's trauma. The results are the same. What is traumatizing to Weston walked in the door. We're talking about training, so I'm going to reference him. What Weston experienced is traumatic is going to be comparative to his life. What he's experienced is different than what I am, different than you. And trauma's trauma.
Well, it's not me saying that theirs wasn't valid.
For some people, yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it wasn't
I'm
that
saying
theirs
they're
was
not
valid. It was different levels.
But I can agree with you, right, when you tell me that they had no business being there.
Well, they had
on
their
side
own,
too.
they can do their own, but
in,
have their
in
own,
that
yeah.
group, because it's just as bad on their side.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get what I have, which is like, oh my God, dude, I don't belong with these people. I didn't experience what these guys did. Holy shit.
So I lost my shit. To be blunt and straight up, in this class with these people crying.
I don't mean to laugh.
And I
It's
lost my
funny.
shit. And I'm sitting around these guys that are amputees and stuff that are like been through it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to come over their own shit. And you're seeing them. They're sinking in their chairs lower and lower. Like, I'm missing body parts. I'm scarred for life. And you're complaining because you got yelled at. So I like lost my shit. And I was like, you got guys here that are messed up, and you're complaining because you got yelled at. You're complaining because you finally got pregnant because you guys have been trying. And now it's an issue. Like all these things. It's like, there's a disconnect here, because you can't say, well, let's have a PTSD group, and then we're all the same. Because it's not saying that they're not valid.
Yeah, interesting.
They're just different levels, different experiences. It's it's like being in a car accident.
Same, but we will agree, same result.
Yes,
They're having the same problems that we are to an extent.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just there's got to be that fine line, and the Navy ended up coming and saying, okay, we need to separate it, and then DoD entirely followed suit afterwards. But
Because
that was
Lucas walked in
and then lost his
fucking
shit.
said it like it was.
And then
Good for you, though.
that's been part of my issue.
But that's good for both of you. That was good for them. So, okay, so you found psilocybin for a different reason, a different way, I'm sorry, same reason, different way, different methodology, obviously different application. I was with a trained group. It was the best people, man, nonprofit called the Warrior Tribe. Man, look those guys up. Gary, the gentleman that runs it, Gary Hess, he pushed in the state of Louisiana, where he's from, he pushed marijuana medicinal use for PTSD and trauma and TBIs and things like that so hard that when it got legalized, and it was because of him, he has license number 1, which pretty awesome. Thanks, Gary. Gary put this thing together for us, and Mike was my facilitator, and a girl named Danny she ended up being from Austin. She does the Reiki, combo and bufo. So she was the Reiki specialist brought in. Gary was a captain in the Army, I believe, combat vet. He had been dealing years for his stuff. So he's giving back and helping us. In turn, it helps him because he actually does it with us while we're out there too. And it was phenomenal, dude.
The best medicines here are the ones that are here naturally.
That's right, right.
So I still microdose.
Yeah.
If I get to the point where I feel myself going down the black hole again, well, I'll eat a little bit more and go sit in the backyard with a deer and just have a reset.
There's no cure.
No, there's no cure.
You manage it.
Yes.
I'm managing it every day. We struggle every day. So here's a message. I'll say what my message is. I'd like you to give a message, if you don't mind. Here's to the people. Doesn't have to be veterans.
People in
That's
general.
why the warrior mentality. That's called the Warrior Podcast. It's not because you put on all this gear and you're uber tactical. It's not. If you're that guy, you're still welcome here. You're not who this is for. You're not why we're building this community. It's a lot of what we're talking about now, the warrior mentality. So to you, regardless of where it came from, you're not alone. No matter how rough and tough and badass Lucas is, and we're gonna have some other people that scheduled to come on, they're gonna see the same theme, or what you think or don't think of me. We deal with it, man. We're broken. We're fractured for life.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a thing. It's been going through since the dawn of time. And it could be sexual experiences, right? Sexual trauma, bad experiences growing up as a kid. That's enough in itself, believe it or not. And some people were way worse than us. But it's about the self-awareness piece of saying, I have it, it's a thing, I gotta get ahead of this.
Yep.
I gotta work the problem, we say in the military. And then you start finding resources. Well, here's the problem I have with all of that. Lots of nonprofits, lots of this, lots of that, lots of that. Another one I like to say is the Wounded Blue. Randy, the CEO, funded a lot of my stuff, and he helped me tremendously. I want to mention that. So there's resources out there. But here's the problem. Where's the breadcrumbs? Where's the chem lights behind us telling everybody else
Follow my path.
there's a way?
Yep.
Because it ain't the VA.
No.
So they're trying to catch up. They're looking into it.
There's so
But
much red
that's not
tape
the way.
with that,
Yeah.
and the way, especially nowadays, with the way the politics are going with the medical
Right.
field and stuff, it's making it even harder.
So here's two vets saying the VA is not the answer currently. My neurologist helped me quite a bit, et cetera, but it's limited.
So I got lucky. My psychologist was the leading psychologist for TBI and PTSD for all of DoD.
So I got out of mine is I get Botox every 3 months for my migraines. The best thing I've ever done, and it helps me get a little bit more peace between the ears in general, and it did help a lot.
I actually talked to my primary care about that 2 weeks ago. She
I'll
goes, let's do
dial you
Botox."
in with that, dude. Probably maybe my neurologist. Okay, so we'll listen to all the resources and all the things we do, and it ain't meds, man. Get off the prazosin, get off the, bupropion, get off all these. I was on
Xanax
9.
and everything else that goes along with it. Yeah.
I was on 9. They don't help. They create major issues. What do I take? I take a peptide called CGC ipamorelin. I've gotten the best rest I've got in my life. I'm normally on a very minor amount of TRT, just enough to like have enough to
That's where I'm at right now.
function in life. I got to get back on it because it's expensive, and I don't get it through the VA. They don't administer.
The VA won't do it.
They,
They do.
ways,
It's extremely hard, and it's a long process.
But also, they'll give you a shot every couple of weeks. You go up, come back down, and fall back down hard. It's terrible. You need to be more constant. We can dive in another day, but I just want you guys to have some resources, have some of these information. I'm trying to leave some chem lights, man. I'm trying to leave some breadcrumbs, right? So that's what my message to you guys is. There are ways. Look for it. Contact me. Contact Lucas, right? I can speak for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I
You know, through the channel, and then we can give you some emails. Like, you can talk to us personally. We're you. We're just dudes, man. This is not a podcast where we're going to become YouTubers. This is just a community we're building where we help each other. Yeah, we're going to talk about gun stuff and cool stuff. We'll get into that. But a lot of this stuff is more important to me and to this channel. And that's where that more warrior mentality comes from. So that's my part of the message. What's your message for somebody that's dealing with right now or hasn't dealt with it mentally? They have it. They haven't dealt with it mentally at that stage. What's your message to them?
My message, like you said prior, like you're not alone. You're not. We're here. You see it with all the other podcasts, with a lot of the other veteran podcasts and everything going on. Like, you're not alone, and you're not. And there's no judgment when you come out and say, "Hey, I'm having some issues. I'm falling down, and I'm having trouble picking myself back up." And what I learned, not just with myself, finally opening up to it, and then accepting that I have the issues and working through them, and I see it with other people that I've talked to, and you'll pull toolboxes or tools for my toolbox from them, and vice versa, is the amount of weight and the stress that comes off your shoulders when you actually do say, "Hey, I'm having these issues. I have this problem."
Yeah.
It's taking a weight off your chest to allow you to actually
bleed off.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And to be able to start seeing the light again instead of having that excuse of, "I'm here. I'm never going to find myself out of the hole." Yeah, everything's dark. Yeah. And even I'll be honest, I still have my dark days. I'm sure you do too. I mean, it's not hard to fall back down.
And mine, frankly, I don't know if you are the same. They're out of nowhere.
They are.
It's, preparation, but then it hits you when you least expect it, when your defenses are down, or you're sitting here and my family's gone, and I'm sitting here watching TV that's worthless and wasted time when I have tons of stuff I need to do.
Yeah.
But I can't make myself do it with all my effort in the world. And I'm a driven mofo. And there's some days I just can't do it, man, or I'll reach for the avoidance.
Yep.
I'll put on I've played VR a lot with the kids, right? You do Call of Duty. I've switched to VR because I experienced it on the road with the kids. I'll go put that damn thing on by myself, which is I don't care to do, and I don't need to, and I don't want to.
Well, that's been a problem. Is I started playing the Battlefield and stuff again. It was because of being avoidant.
Yeah,
like I started putting weight back on again because
when you put that thing on, you're out of your head.
Yep.
You're out of your life. You're out of your, and it can be healthy to an extent until it's not. So that's a good message in itself, right? Is recognize what's healthy, a good escape, a good breather, a good recharge, and what's not, and what you're leaning on as a crutch or using as an avoidance. Man, that's a great message. And again, we keep saying veterans because that's our community, but it's not. It's us. It's you. It's everyone. And Weston's behind the camera, knowing, learning, and seeing firsthand that if you choose to sign the dotted line for anything that you know is going to create stress and trauma, these are going to be the results. It's going to affect you and your family the rest of your life. And now we know about it, right? The guy that signs on that dotted line and now sitting behind that camera like he is hearing this and seeing this firsthand and knowing and still signs on is a greater man.
Knowing the risks behind it,
Yeah. But also, he's armed with something we never had.
He's already got his toolbox filled.
What does G.I. Joe say when we were a kid? Knowing is half the battle. There you go, right?
Yeah.
So he's got that tool in his box we didn't have.
Yeah.
He's got a preventative tool. We had it's broken. How do you fix it? He's got bandages and gauze and things. He's got trauma kit, whereas we have hammer and nails and staples.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it together.
There's some Band-Aids that don't stick.
Yeah. So nobody hates anything worse than a Band-Aid that stick.
Right. But yeah, you're not alone. It's okay to be broken.
Yep.
We're all broken in some which way.
Amen. So we're going to change gears. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, we want to hit on one lighthearted topic, the gun stuff, the gear, the tools, the stuff.
What we're into now.
The controversial stuff. you brought up something when we were drinking coffee this morning that you have more insight. You've delved into it from an evidentiary value because I'm a data guy and I'm a prove-disprove guy. That's pretty powerful. And I've been getting a lot, since my last video, let's address it, I've been getting a lot of like, this thing's the best concealed, pistol I've ever bought, whatever. I get, keep it simple. Glock, Glock, Glock. That's all you need. You don't need all this. You don't need to spend that much money on your gun. Let me tell you guys a couple things. Agree or disagree, it's fine. We're going to create a little controversy, and it's okay because it's going to make everybody better, especially people on the channel that don't know. Half the people making these statements saying things because you only know what you know.
Yep.
And I was that guy too. We all were. Everything I put on that pistol, that 365X macro, all customed out, everything I put on that pistol increased reliability and increased performance.
Yep.
And those have been in a gunfight, those have don't, just listen, please. If it comes time to saving my life, your life, my family's life, my kids, I want every edge I can get my fucking hands on. What is one of the people's lives around me worth? You want to say there's too much of value on that? You want to say there's too much you could spend on a pistol? Yeah, we have moral differences, okay?
Yeah, 100%.
So, and experience and difference, but you don't know what you know. We're going to try and teach you and tell you what you don't know. I've tested every one of those parts. I used to say 10, 15 years ago, more rounds, more training. That gun's not going to help you. In fact, your bad habits a good gun will make worse, right? Because it's
It can
temperamental.
get you lazy, yeah.
It's not the case anymore. I can hand a moron a great gun, a staccato, and he's going to do better. It just performs better. Better everything, and there's so much science behind it. Okay, secondly, it's not concealable anymore. I argue that it is more concealable. I compared yesterday that SIG to a 43X, and it's pretty damn close. I have a little bit bigger grip, and I put that compensator on. Other than that, dude, it's like a 43X. What everybody says they carry, 43X, 48, and Glock 19, right? It is way smaller than Glock 19, carries more rounds. I promise you, it shoots far flatter. And what they don't realize, what we talked about at breakfast, I want to shed some light on, then I want to give it to you, is that when you've been in one of these stressful situations, and it's already hard, and you got a situation in front of you that could cause great bodily injury or death on you, and you shoot that adrenaline in your ass, you create that fog of war, and you think you're going to do well with a stock Glock? Okay, what's going to happen is this on the range becomes this under stress, under fire, and with all the adrenaline. It's going to create errant rounds, guys. Let alone you're not saving your life, not stopping the threat. You could hit something you're not supposed to.
Well, there's that term of
Or hurt
with every
somebody.
round you throw down range has a lawyer attached to it.
Right? You're responsible for everything that leaves the barrel, every single one of them. And each one of them are a deadly force incident in itself. And I teach this throughout the country and throughout my career. People don't understand. So, it's not just you miss the bad guy and you lose the battle. Maybe you hit the bad guy with 4 rounds in that 5th round or that 3rd round or that flyer from, right? The adrenaline. I don't care how badass you think you are. You don't know until you're in a gunfight. Maybe you are, but you don't know until you know. That errant round costs you your family's livelihood.
Yep.
Now you have a different death. You have a financial death. You have a gap in the family because you're in jail. You have this, you have that. And I heard guys chime in, I'm not spending $2,000 on a gun because we're not getting a gunfight. They take an intervention. So they don't take your gun. They ballistically test it for a period of time and give it back.
Unless they find that you're at fault. Then it's
yes. Now, if you're criminal in nature, it is evidence.
Yep.
But it's not until it gets to that point. I had my guns taken for ballistic testing and given back. So enough of that. So we're dispelling some rumors. They're going to create some controversy.
Because you hear it all the time. Oh, I'm going to buy a $450 gun or a $300 gun because, well, if I have to shoot someone, it's going to get taken away.
Yeah.
Do you
I had
want
3 or 4 comments
do
on
you
that.
want to have an LCP or something like that as like your go-to? Probably. I'm not going to take a burst or something like that. But that's gonna be my
and guys,
primary.
I still have a Glock 19. That shadow system right there is a Glock 19 with a couple of things. It's a clone, right? So I still have a Glock 19, and I still carry sometimes when I wear a bulky jacket or because it's a great gun. I've done stuff to that to make it more reliable. I've done stuff to that to make it more accurate, shoot flatter, i.e. not just accuracy, but less errant rounds, guys. It's not always just about accuracy and performance. So I will spend whatever, and I don't have a lot of money, right? I'm launching my business full time, and I am on a wire. and I'm buying microphones with like my last dollar to do this for you guys, and hopefully it ends up on something for me where I can actually, bridge the gap. And there's no dollar amount still on a gun you can place that if you have to protect your or somebody else's life, that you can place on it. And I just don't care what anybody thinks. They can't. They're just your defense is moot at that point. So I'm done ranting because it's a rant, guys, right? And we need to get that out.
Well, it's easy to get worked up over these kinds of things because there's all those misnomers.
And we have experience, and we have real experience that some of these guys that don't. But listen, there's a difference. When you guys have a channel and you have some followers and things, and you make a statement or something like that, I'm going to engage with it. We're going to have a conversation, a healthy professional conversation, and we're going to try to maybe come to some common ground. If you have 8 years on YouTube and 1 subscriber and 2 videos, you're just a troll. I'm probably not going to answer you. Really don't care. I'm not going to succumb to that because that's just not
We're here
worth
to teach and
anybody's
inform.
time. We're here to, we will not cast pearls in front of swine. Is it getting any better than that? Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Okay, so I'm doing my rant because we're getting there on time. I want to make this palatable so people want to watch this long thing. You talked about, this is going to open a can of worms, guys. Get ready. This is going to be in the front of the video because this is the power.
Well, it's been something that's been on the news and it's been all over the internet for like a year
Someone
now.
set it up because you're going to crush it.
So
the Sig 320 versus the Glock fanboys.
So
fire away.
First of all, I'm going to knock on this Glock thing real quick. Okay, because everyone wants Glock, 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 Glock. 20 years ago, sure, because it was polymer and it was dependable.
It shot great.
I mean, they shot good if you can get past the trigger and the ergonomics of the Glock. Because let's be honest, they're trash. Okay, unless you're used to it, that's home for you. But man, that's besides the point. Nowadays, I mean, you go to any gun store, and you can find any polymer pistol, even a cheap one for $350, $400. That's going to be just as dependable, if not more dependable than Glock. Especially now with the new V series.
The SAR.
The new SAR. We just got
the
one in the
PSA
store.
Dagger.
It's
even
a Glock, T-Sauce has a carry gun that's like $300.
T-Sauce, great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff. A lot of Turkish build stuff's coming up hard. MAC.
Yeah, I mean, my daily carry for CC, for concealed carry is a T-Sauce, or not a T-Sauce, Canik.
Canik. I don't shoot Canics well, ergonomically. Nothing wrong with them, right?
I'll let you shoot my MC9 Prime after this. See how I like it.
Cool. And see, I'm open. I'm open to shoot it, and if it works for me, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we don't say that it's wrong. That's because we know better. And to give you a little bit of clout, he works at a gun store, does this for a living, and he got into customizing guns about when I do. I didn't do it for customization. I got it because the parts started being better.
Yeah.
They performed better. They made you better. They were evolution is what they were. There's a difference between customization. I never did. Gucci, you're probably never going to see me paint a gun until I get some money in it because it's cool.
All my stuff's rattle can.
Right. So I don't Gucci it. I don't do I stay pretty stock because it's not that type of customization. It's performance, database stuff that I tested and it worked. Okay, so ready for the bomb?
Okay. So
Sig 320. Do you like it or do you hate it?
So I have a 320, personally, and the day I bought it, obviously this was a year ago when the controversy first came back up, before the Air Force thing happened. And you got all these videos of people at ranges and their 320s are going off and all that stuff. And still bought one. I still had experience with them. I brought that home, $1,500 gun, because this is DH3, the Daniel Horner edition.
Oh, you fancy.
Brought it home and trees, cinder blocks, hammers, dead blows, everything to try it. I put an empty case in there with the light primer and did everything I possibly could to get that fucking thing to go off. Wouldn't happen. My brother's got like 4 of them. Same thing. When I started working at the store, we have like 40 320s at the store. And myself and the manager went through and every single one tried to do the same thing. Couldn't get one to go through off, right? So you have Sig themselves, who knows how much money they put into testing the thing, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
DOD has done a bunch of testing. All your law enforcement agencies have done a bunch of testings. And then you have all these people that are suing Sig and all that stuff and all these naysayers that they're paying their third-party companies to do all this testing against the 320 to see if it would go off on its own. No one in the industry at all has been able to replicate these 320s going off inside the holsters.
That we don't have clear and present. The only thing I've seen, and I haven't dove in as much as you do, I saw a video of, I think it was a trooper, go to get out of his car. and you watch the video, he doesn't touch it, and bang, he's like, "Did you guys hear that? Did you guys see
It
that?"
does happen, yeah.
Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, so there has been videos like
But
that.
say what Safari Land's disclaimer says, because
So I wasn't going to call them out like that, but
every holster. I think every holster probably has a disclaimer.
They
And
do,
here,
but
we have one right here. It is
So-
an open mouth, right?
So the problem with the Safari Land holsters
there.
is it's a
See that?
wide,
Can you see it on the
mouth
video?
holster.
All right, cool.
It's a wide mouth holster.
There you
It
go.
is. And Safari Land has a disclaimer on their, on their box when you buy the holster or on the pamphlet. It says, hey, there is risks of things falling inside this holster. And you see officers and security guards that they be playing with their guns with their finger inside the holster. And you see some of these videos of, guys at the range and they have the ND, and then you see the camera angle from the other side and you see the finger go in the holster with the gun. So
Do you think there's somebody vilifying SIG on purpose? Because I
So
feel
the
like
same thing
there's
happened with Glock, and
I
the
feel
same
like
thing-
there's a vendetta. Somebody's out to get SIG almost.
So like
right?
17 is when SIG got the military contract, like 2017. And we saw the same thing happen with Beretta, and we saw the same thing happen with Glock when they got their NYPD, which we're going to go into this NYPD thing here in a moment.
Yeah.
When they got their contract for NYPD, because that was 100,000 Glocks just for a police department.
Yeah.
And you saw a bunch of backlash from that. So you see it when gun companies get these big contracts. It's not just SIG. You saw it with Colt, and you're seeing it with like Sons of Liberty and all these other companies that have their government contracts. They start getting heat from all these people, regardless of how good they're doing.
Yeah. Because the gun industry,
It's cutthroat.
yeah,
It is
full of
cutthroat.
a bunch. Watch, I'll get a bunch of hate on this video because the gun industry's full of haters.
So
And self-proclaimed experts.
self-proclaimed. And that's the problem with a lot of these people is they'll shoot a Glock, and Glock's king because that's all they shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they shoot a 1911.
Or
Excuse
Glock
me.
sponsored their channel.
Or
Glock.
Glock- or-
I see it recently
yeah.
with the new Gen 6.
Yes.
They flew me to Glock.
Yeah.
You think they're going to say something negative when Glock invited them to their factory to show them the new Gen 6?
All the influencers. Yeah. And they paid for them to go out there to do all this stuff.
Of course they did.
So
And I would too. I don't have a problem. I met Catherine Glock. She's awesome. She's beautiful. No hitch. Just experiences we're talking about this, and opinions.
So we're going with this whole this 320 is going off on its own deal.
So first of all, I'm going to frame this out so we can keep this in a respectable time frame.
Yeah, I'll be quick with that.
Tell me how the Air Force guy was
Okay,
the
so-
negligent discharge that really set it on
So
fire at
obviously-
the Pinnacle was disproven.
Yeah, so it turned a whole shit fire came out of this with this whole another 320, but this time it killed an airman. Well, and the story was that he put his holster down with the gun inside of it and pointed at himself, and it went off in the holster without being touched. Obviously, that came out not being true, that it was another airman playing with the gun, and it ended up being an ND. And then that came out even more was the airman they had a quarrel between the two each other over a female, and the other airman actually shot the other airman on purpose.
So let me ask you, in your infinite wisdom and
I don't know if I'd
experience
say infinite. But
that you have, right? Meaning a moron could come to the same conclusion. Could he have done that with any gun?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
could
when
he
you
have done
when
it
you-
with a 22? Could he have done it
Yeah.
with, I got a 22 here on the wall, this thing. He could have done it with that thing, right? That thing is one of the most reliable things I ever put my finger on. Okay, so now dive into the NYPD stats that you told me. I like the stats that
So
you
this is
bring
going
to
to blow
light.
some people's minds, and if you can get around the actual numbers and how different the numbers are,
Relativity.
is astonishing. So NYPD, this is one precinct for 20 years.
And
or
30
23 years.
something thousand officers in NYPD, by the way, the largest police force in the
So
world.
this is just one precinct over 20 years with 30,000 Glocks, 30,000 officers. Was like 539 accidental discharges.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
classify, I
that's-
think, everything AD. We have AD, ND.
Yeah, AD,
I think they go
ND, but
AD on every, I'm not sure. Anyway,
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If it's a negligent, it's negligent. Whether
If
it's
it's an
the
AD,
gun's
it's
fault,
still negligent.
It's still
Yeah.
negligent because everything could be prevented somehow. That's why we have our safety rules. If you follow any four of those safety rules,
you're good.
you're good. So Glock, within their 23 years of this one precinct of 30,000 Glocks, had like 539 accidental discharges.
Right.
Or just 30,000 guns. SIG, the enormity of the 320 platform,
With their contracts.
with their contracts and the civilians and all that stuff, and all the law enforcement, it's 4.5 million 320s in circulation. 4.5 million. Okay,
and you said contracted agencies, it was about 1 million, right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah, between just the
That-
agencies and
so
then
we don't know if it's that big a number.
It's a huge number.
So what was the
Like
ratio?
406 in a 10-year time period.
So one could say, oh my God, there's been 406, and you could spin it, or you could say, out of 1 million, and go, that percentage is nothing. It's like, and I don't want to dive into politics, it's like the transgender community. Big problems, big stuff going on, big arguments.
Very, very small part.
Enormously small portion of the community. And I don't have a problem with them one way or another. But just to put things in perspective on right, their perspective on the percentage is skewed. You can skew data any way you want to. Raw, real data can be used incorrectly to spin the wrong agenda narrative. Thank you, to spin the wrong narrative. So that's a lot of that's what's going on. Have there been something go wrong with a gun? Probably every manufacturer ever made has a story where the gun probably had a defect and had an issue. It's not possible. It's just like, I always say that cars, I used to say the same with cars, same with guns. They're going to be very unpredictable. Why? They're built by man, made by man, run and used by man.
Yeah.
Okay?
There's going to be something wrong with it.
Right. There is the most unpredictable thing next to what? A woman. Don't let my wife hear that, right?
Well, that's why they always say you never buy the first gen of anything.
Yeah, in a car.
Or a car.
Corvette guys like that. Yeah. I'm not buying the new C5 because I'll wait a year.
Yeah. Wait for all the bugs to come out.
Yeah, I agree, and there's something to that.
Which Sig did the same thing when
I think manufacturing's so far past that now, though.
Well, the 320 they had issues, and they did like the voluntary, send your shit back. Obviously, they recanted. So like obviously there were some issues with Sig, the company itself, with the 320 controversy. With Airman, I liked how they responded with the Airman issue, which was no response at all. It was, let's wait for investigation to come out.
Yep.
Which is what I was telling everyone, like, let's not hop on the bandwagon because it's something to have drama
But that was the pinnacle that shot this thing nuts. It was almost like, I felt like, oh God, this is the nail in the coffin for Sig.
But the problem with that was, then all the videos from prior years and all these other issues started coming resurfacing.
I did see the one that everybody saw when the structure's over here, down the fire line, before he says fire, some dude cranks one off. And blames Sig. Everybody's like, oh, must have been a 320, must have been a 320.
So it was a 320, but the problem with that is, so inside those holsters, there's like pieces inside and stuff like that can move around. That was a Safariland holster. For an X300 light, a Surefire X300 light.
Which is
but
right there.
He had a TLR 7 sub-compact light on there, so the gun wasn't sitting in the holster properly.
It wiggled.
And he had brass inside of his holster.
Okay, so I teach, and it was reiterated. I took a class with, I've mentioned this, a couple of Team 8 guys. Love these dudes to death. And why I teach, when you holster a Glock, to put your thumb on the back of the slide to make sure it doesn't go out of battery and it hits, because I've had brass fly in my holster. I've had things fly in my holster. And then with the 2011, every time and I had to remind myself when I went back, I used to shoot 1911s competitively. Now when I went back to 2011 frame, which was only last year with the Prodigy, now the Staccato, is you need to put your finger between the hammer and
the firing pin
when you reholster. I've
done that forever. Yeah.
And I'm relentless on reminding people to do that. My kids cannot holster a center-fired, pistol without the thumb on the frame.
So that's one thing I've always taught was fast out right when we're drawn.
Slow in.
And slow back
so
in.
We don't even start this controversy. Like, dude, if there's still a threat, why are you looking down your holster? If you need to holster it in an administrative maneuver and the fight is over, and if there's still a threat, you have no business fucking holstering unless you're transitioning.
Only holster when the threat
to a rifle.
Is gone.
Unless you're transitioning to a rifle or you had a malfunction. But at that point, if I'm in combat and it's that bad, if I have to jettison that thing and go to my rifle, I don't care, right? Whatever.
If you're into the point where you have to like drop, like transition from a pistol to a rifle, fuck the pistol, I'm going to my rifle.
Yeah, if it's that bad,
I'll pick that up later.
That you cannot positively make sure that you holster and shoot yourself in the leg or whatever, and you might need it later to reload or fix the malfunction when you have a lull in the action, they call it, then I get it. So we don't want to go down that road.
That's a whole nother podcast.
But we're going to get so many comments already on this because we open these can of worms. That's fine. That's cool. Is it a little bit of a ploy to help the channel? Sure. At least we admit it. But
it's just some of the controversies that happened inside.
But listen, fire away in the comments. I know I'm welcoming.
Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think. And also let us know what topics you want to talk about in the future. We're going to start wrapping this up. What you guys want to talk about in the future, because we're making up what we think you guys like, but we're building a community. And you know what? The community has a say, guys. You're part of this. Some guys have got, and I have to mention, I don't know names. I'll look it up maybe later and give you guys some credit. One guy got on there and was like, hey, you got on there and said all these parts on this gun and didn't say and sold us on all this stuff, but didn't even tell us where to get it or buy it. And I said, hey man, I'm not here trying to make money. I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I mention them because they help the program out. I want you to know what the parts are. I go, but that's okay, dude. I'm here for community. We're here for community. but I'll put the parts list in there and put links in there. He went back going, I was just frustrated because I was trying to find the grip module you had and I couldn't find it on the internet. So thank you to that guy for being cool. And he's like, I'm going to follow the channel now. I go, you know what? You're exactly who I want. You have knowledge, you have input, and you just need to bring it positive, and you'll get a positive response. And then I put all the links on there for him. If he's got any questions, or hell, if he's local and wants to come out and shoot the thing, more power to absolutely. So I just want to frame out who we are and what we're after, and what we want involved and what we don't. Again, what we said last time, 2 things we're going to end with. Comment, whatever. Be positive. Bring something to the table. Don't just get in there to knock ourselves, and us down and create a fight. You want to have an intelligent conversation back and forth, the difference of opinions. Absolutely. Iron sharpens iron. It makes us all better.
Yep.
However, the negativity, we're going to brush that off, and we're going to bring in some good discussion and some good trains of thought. Maybe you have found some videos we haven't. Maybe you have some evidence, have a mother, sister's, baby, daddy's cousin that was there. I don't know, right? Some better data to skew the conversation. We welcome. It's awesome. Lastly, that I have not mentioned, I need to start mentioning because we got to pay the bills. Yes, we're going to get you discount codes on all these parts we talk about and all these things, and it will help us incrementally to keep the channel going. But if you are anywhere near the Central Texas area, or if you're going to be, or if you want to be, and you have the funds to fly out here, and you want to train with Fit2Fire, our website is Fit2Fire Warrior, FIT2 Fire, just like the channel here, Fit2FireWarrior.com. You can talk to us, book things on there. He is listed as instructor on there. You can read his bio in depth. It's got a sexy picture of you and your painted gun on there. And
I didn't have my bikini that day. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, right. So if you want to do any of this stuff, right, all our services are listed on there. Weston's laughing behind the camera. I use several pictures of our training on there. Defensive rifle is you, I think. A couple more are you. So please hit us up and do that. Lucas, you got anything you want to say or leave us with before you take off?
Pretty much did a lot of things.
Yeah, we did.
So
went overboard. We're a little extra, bro. Yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
We'll have you on again and obviously highlight some shooting. Maybe we'll get some footage, B-roll today of us at the range in the backyard. It's a range. It's railroad ties, bro. So
I brought a silhouette with me if you want to use
yeah,
it.
and we'll see. And we'll draw a picture of Weston on it. So anyway, I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging on this long. And man, tune in for the next one. Y'all take care.